All right.
Welcome back, everybody, to East Providence Lanes in East Providence, Rhode Island. We are here with the champion of the KR Strikeforce NEBA Open Singles event, NEBA number 979, only 21 away from 1,000. And it is none other than rising star young Peter Fox, only 23 years old.
Thank
now,
you,
how long have you been bowling? Let's talk about this for a second.
I started spring of 2017.
Spring of 2017.
And
so that was, and in there was the pandemic. So you had probably a fair bit of time where you probably weren't bowling.
7-8 months probably of no bowling.
Okay.
So, about 5 years probably if you take out the 7-8 months. So before that, I bowled maybe once or twice a month.
Okay.
Average like $130.
But you never got serious.
No, I got my first hooking ball at for my 18th birthday. So a few weeks before I turned 18, I got my first hooking ball.
And
Purple Hammer, number 6.
Oh, good for you. So
I was a good choice.
Oh, you can't use that now.
No, I can't. It's
that's
sitting at home.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
you should hang on to that ball. That's a conversation piece now.
Yeah.
Well, here you are with your first NEBA title. So I wanted to talk to you about that title match. You're on 19 and 20, or excuse me, 9 and 10. And 10 is hooking a lot more. They're from our perspective, they were two completely different bowling alleys because 10 is hooking so early, and 9 is just, even when it does get to the spot and come back, it's lazy off the spot.
Yeah,
comes back.
Yeah. I felt like 9 was a lot tighter down lane, even out to 5, 6, 7, 8, which I felt like there was plenty of hook there all day.
Yeah.
And it was usually managing that hook was the key to bowling big scores. But 9 was actually quite tight there, and 10 was the opposite. 7, 8, 9 hooked quite a bit, and also
you finally struck on 10 in like the 6th frame or 7th
ball
frame.
Change.
Did you make a ball change?
Yeah, so
okay,
I started a web pearl to start, and it was a little too quick on 10, and it was a little too behind it on 9. So I went to a dark web, similar numbers, a little slower response ball. It's still a cleanish cover for a solid, but slow response, it kind of helped me control the pocket a little bit
Did you
easier.
change any of your release? Because it looked like you got a little behind it and got it through the front a little better on that shot on 10. And I'm really, because that shot really, to me, really changed the match once you figured out how to score.
Yeah, that definitely got me a lot more comfortable on 10. I tried to give it a little bit more loft and make sure I didn't hit up on it too hard.
Yeah.
And it did get through it, and then later in that match, I hit up on the one in the 9th maybe.
Well, that one, then you went back to the beak on that lane again. But you made all your spares. That super washout, what was going through your mind when that sparkle comes across and you make
all
that?
Luck.
Make that
the hits come around,
right?
I suppose, you know.
So it's good stuff.
That's all you can ask for is when the hits come around, they goes your way. So.
Well, you had been averaging about 250 in the finals, and if you go back and look at your numbers, I think you're going to find out that's true. And all of a sudden, you hit this crazy pair, 9 and 10.
Yeah, I mean, pair's always tricky when it hasn't been bowled on for 2-3 games.
Right.
So I know it hasn't been bowled on. So it's a little bit sharper down lane, less play.
Yep.
So in my 2 balls on each lane in practice, I didn't really get a great look of what they were doing. It always sucks when you throw a bad shot and you only got 2 balls of practice and you get a good read. So
been there.
And the lane was just each lane was different. So though all those factors really make it a little bit trickier when you're coming off a different pair. So I was lucky enough to just kind of grind it out, throw some strikes here and there, and kind of find a more controllable ball reaction halfway through to win the match. I don't know what I won by, maybe 20. Dennis bowled a phenomenal game. I saw him moving around across the lane as well. His look was definitely different from what he was bowling on. He just bowled on.
I think Dennis was fighting injury, too. I think he had a lot of pain through his hand and up through his forearm.
Yeah, Dennis has been bowling so good this year, but he's been having some problems past month, I suppose. He's been having a lot of hand and wrist stuff, but Dennis is one of my. We bowl doubles all the time. One of my closest friends.
I know that. You guys are right up 91 from Chicopee down.
Yeah, we're about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So
we
bowl quite a lot. So,
well, what got you into competitive bowling? I mean, a lot of people get into bowling and things like that, but I've seen you at regionals. You know, you've really in the last couple of years taken the game very seriously. So, what got you into that? What's your competitive spark?
Since I graduated from UConn a year and a half ago, maybe spring of 2021, and I started working at Lessard Lanes, and a lot more practice, a lot more time. But I really committed to it when I went to uni in Maine for a little while, and I just was averaging 2-0. I decided to bowl some mists, and I realized I was good and I could make some money off of it, and I just fell in love. I think a lot of bowlers can relate. The first time they get that first paycheck from bowling, the fact that you can do something you love and get paid is intoxicating. So.
What's that? Money won is 100 times better than money earned. Is it?
Yeah, something like
that. The
that.
color of money or something like that. So it's a lot better. So, so you obviously are using webs. What kind of equipment are you favoring?
Yeah,
what are you looking at these
I'm
days?
on Hammerstaff. Thank you everything for all the brands of Brunswick. They support me. They're very good to me. And the webs roll good. They're lower RG balls, and I did feel like the lanes were a little bit cliffed today.
Yeah.
At times there was overhook and underhook with the variety of balls that went down the lane. So the webs blended out the
there's
the
a lot
wet
of
and the
urethane,
dry.
a lot of urethane, even at first and even later.
I even saw some in match play too.
To try to tame down the back ends. Guys couldn't have that quick stuff on the back. They needed something to tame it out.
Yeah, I mean the pattern was a little bit trickier than 7-1 is what I thought when I looked at the taper of it.
We had extensive discussions to this effect on the live stream. So absolutely, and part of the reason was the reverse drop brush was at 37. So if you average those two out, 41, it played more like a 39-foot pattern, which doesn't give you the push in the middle that you're expecting.
You still saw a lot of guys trying to play that push in the middle, but it definitely played a little bit shorter for me. And there's plenty of hook out there, and it's managing all the overhook and some of the urethane squiggle.
You were able to get balls back that other guys were not. Were you doing anything specific with your hand? Were you trying to stay behind or on the side?
Slower speed and just trying to get into a roll, basically.
Yeah. Because I think you had a couple more boards of swing than most guys, as evidenced by your scores.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely were able to open it up. And then once you open up that swing, you can create a little hold for yourself, too. So.
Yeah, I felt like the pattern had some built-in swing just because of just the ratio, really. And, but I was able to give it a little bit extra, slower speed and just trying to get the ball to start up and kind of blend out the wet-dry. Probably gave me more room to the right than I thought. I was just trying to blend out the wet-dry. Probably gave me more room to the right than I thought it had. So.
Now, I crossed right next to you on the burn squad today, and you were lofting the cap and throwing it past probably the arrows and down there. And if you say to somebody, I've been bowling for 5 years, and that really is the mark of a seasoned pro. So that you were able to play that. Is that something you practice or something that just comes natural to you?
Lots of practice. Yeah, that's something I practice. Getting in front of the ball return and lofting it was long nights at the bowling alley trying to figure that one out.
Wow.
But when you bowl two-handed and you have rev rate, that's an essential. If you do not have that in your toolbox and you have a high rev rate, you're going to suffer.
You got to get
bowling 12-30 squads and bowling 8-game blocks. You're going to suffer if you can't loft the gutter. So.
Well, and I also noticed you were in front of the ball return with a very even on the left lane, you had a very short approach. You tried to keep the approaches about the same.
Yeah.
And so you were laying it much shorter during the match play, right, as opposed to lofting it, of course. You didn't have to, right?
There wasn't as much play, so I didn't really have to go over it.
Right.
The front's definitely burnt up on the 12-30 squad, so just my ball reaction was more consistent if I could take those out of play. As far as match play went, the middle part of the lane was a little bit friendlier as far as the oil in the front part of the lane, so my ball got through it a little bit easier,
Not as much urethane burning the front, a little bit more, a little push through the front,
Yeah, match play, the lanes obviously when they get re-oiled, for me, they usually hook earlier, but...
oh, is that right?
Usually for me, at least, but today they played much easier, I felt, than qualifying. So
did you find, I think you were up here when you had a couple of big games, you had a couple of games you even started with strings or you went spare string, compared to way down here, 3 and 4 up to, you were up 17, 18.
Well, I've bowled in this bowling center enough times. I do have some notes on 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. So I have 3 aboard tighter, I have 5 aboard tighter. I usually have the low end a little bit tighter, and then I have some, this end of the house, actually 11 through probably 20 is where I've had my most success at this bowling center, probably. I don't know what it is, but I do have some notes. So I do have these lanes quite a bit tighter, though. Probably 1 through 8. I always have a lot tighter than the rest of the house.
Now, you never bowled for UConn, obviously. There was nothing there, right?
No.
You just bowled
No, I just bowled NEBA. I just, my whole college bowling experience was coming out, and I don't want to say donating, but I got my face kicked in for a little bit out here, and that's kind of how it goes. You don't realize how good these guys are. It may be an amateur tournament, but there are some professionals here, and they're very, very good. And there's some very high-level amateurs. And before you get out here, you don't realize that.
We've always said that the PBA we don't think is well represented in New England. They do come up here. There's an event here, I think. You see 2 or 3 regionals in here, but you really have to go to Pennsylvania, New York, places like that. The eastern region is 500-mile radius New York City. So you can go, you can go all the way to the other side of Pennsylvania and still be in the east, or all the way down to Delaware.
Yeah, Delaware, Maryland.
You got to travel quite a bit, as you've done.
I'm lucky enough to be out of the Hartford area, so I can get right on 84. And yeah, I mean, every regional is between probably 3 and 5 hours, but
but there's a lot of guys that won't do that. So you look at Webb, you look at Alex, you look at Lichstein, you look at some of these guys who are just the top players in the area. They just don't bowl the PBA. It's interesting, because it's just so far. And
it's your Friday, it's your all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. If you only bowl NEBA, you get your Fridays and Saturdays.
That's right.
Back
you can
to spend time with
it a one day.
Spend time with your family, bowl other things, whatever you want to do. So the regionals they really are a 3-day commitment. So you can see why a lot of people don't bowl them from at least New England unless they come up here. So.
That's if you can get there on Friday morning.
I'm
going to leave literally Wednesday night next week and go down to Charlotte, and we'll try to make the senior RPI.
Oh, there you go.
Down in the South, because I have other regionals there, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, the South, you'll probably do better in the South region, I have a feeling. So
I do okay down there. I've got a couple of caches.
And
it's this is going to be on Mark Ross, so I'm looking forward to kind of getting a little bit of hold. Of course, I thought I'd have hold here too, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, lane surface is probably a smidge better down there than up here, though. So you might have a little bit more hold. Be able to use some better equipment,
not as much dust and salt in the air and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, all of
things do go longer. They are mellower. They are cleaner. I would say the heads are cleaner down there.
And I
New
like
England
the
heads are all beat up. These lane surfaces around here are all just destroyed.
Yeah, I've had to. I mean, if you don't adopt to how much New England hooks, it won't eat you up and spit you out. You got to be able to either loft it, tilt it, or throw it through the fronts. What do you got to do?
I moved west in 2001. And as soon as I got out there, every ball that I brought would not hook, would not wrinkle.
Yeah.
So I sent an emergency SOS back to my ball driller back here to send me a case of balls that were all dull and hooked, try to get something that would hook out west. So you're right. It's very different.
Different lane surfaces, different environments. You got to be able to bowl on both, hopefully, if you look to bowl around the world. But in New England, you do have to fight the fronts a lot of the time.
Cleaner bowling balls. With the older surfaces.
Yeah.
You don't see many new surfaces out there, especially where we go. You see some glow lanes some places, but they're soft. Things like that. And all that. So. Well, hey, your first NEBA title, so congratulations.
So
anybody want to thank?
Oh yeah. Well, first, all of the Lessard Lanes family and staff. I work there. I'm the day guy there, Monday through Thursday, and they're all great to me. Marcel's great to me. It's
NEBA champion.
NEBA champion. Used to be tournament director.
Yep.
Yeah, good player.
Yep.
So all of them. Huge thanks to everybody there. Obviously, my family, friends, if you're watching. Thank you guys. And then Bullwinkles and Rich Reynolds, they've done so much work with me. We've worked on a lot of touch, a lot of swing plane, Rich is, I don't use his coaching as much as I probably should, but he is my coach for all intents and purposes. And very wise, he definitely has helped mold my game over the past year and a half and really turned me into more of a consistent bowler, being able to show up every time.
Rich has been a very tough competitor for a long, long time. And he's just and I think he's one of the most underrated players in the world.
I would agree. One of the best grinders
fantastic.
there is.
Absolutely. And he's got that kind of that side tilt roll.
He's got the funky roll now.
Yeah. But
he's so underrated.
Works on so many different.
He still practices, and he's always working and tinkering on his game. And he tells me to stop tinkering so much, but I'm a worker. I have to practice 3-4 times a week.
I think
guaranteed.
you tinker to find out what works. I think that's how you do it. So.
I need to be. I like to be working on something, always getting better. So there's no such thing as perfection in any sport like bowling or golf or anything. You can always get better.
Absolutely right. Anybody else? Any shout-outs?
Stone and Jack coming all this way, coming out bowling NEBA. Zach, huge shout out to Dennis. Dennis has really been one of my motivators. He has taken off bowling NEBA. He's bowled absolutely phenomenal this year.
Well, he's going for his third title. He was really going to close the gap to Jay Johnson if he were to win. Jay's got a commanding lead in Bowler of the Year. He took a dent out of it, but it would have been even better with a win for Dennis. So, what a year he's having. Yeah.
Trying to think of everybody. If I forget anybody, thank you to my girlfriend Leah. Sorry, you're probably gonna watch this later. Thank you, Leah. Love you. Love your mom. Love your dad. Whatever.
All those guys. So.
Yeah. If I missed anybody, sorry. You can come up and
Well, we're so proud of you. You're such a mature young man. You've done so much in your game in 5 years. Really impressive to get your first NEBA title. It's going to be one of many, I'm sure.
Certainly hope so.
I want to give a shout out to Danny. Great job as usual. And again, thanks for all the work at the Vincent Hall 2 days. All the work here across 2 days. Becky was here. Debbie. everybody on the staff. Thanks to Chris Forey, my broadcast partner and ball driller. He drilled me up 4 new rocks, not necessarily for here, but he's just incredible to me and all the NEBA staff. So
no matter what you have to say, NEBA runs phenomenal tournaments. You really can't find better tournaments run than this anywhere in the Northeast. So if you haven't bowled one, check one out. Seriously, the whole staff. You guys don't have to do this, so we're lucky that we do have tournaments up here to come out and bowl. So
we love doing it. I'm going to be president next year, so hopefully we can keep this rolling along. And we're going to have our Hall of Fame dinner coming up, where a few interesting players are going to make it into the Hall of Fame, including John Kirker and a few other folks.
Chris Monroy?
No, Chris has not made
close.
it yet. He's close. He's got 6 titles, but 1 was a double, so it's not enough.
So
he needs
split.
6 singles titles. Unless he won before 1992 that you don't know about, but I think he was a young lad.
Before my time.
Not before mine, unfortunately. So, anyway, so Peter Fox, first-time NEBA champion, great bowling. Congratulations.
Thank you again.
Way to stay calm, and we will see you on the flip-flop. We'll see everybody in Manchester, October 22nd and 23rd, and if you are in the top 47 of the Paul Forey Memorial, make sure you get your 9 a.m. reservation in for that morning, and then you get your way to Norwich to get to the top 20 to be part of that $10,000 prize list, okay? Peter, safe drive home.
Thank you. You too.
And we'll see you in Manchester,
all right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you there.
See
Okay.
you
Take care, everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye. I hope that wasn't too long.
Oh, it was perfect. It was perfect, man. Good job.
Yeah,
really good job. You're really well spoken. It's good. Make it easy.